What's up, everybody? Welcome to the iProv vlog. As always, I'm Jordan Smith, VP of Sales and Marketing with iProv, and I've got our Chief Operating Officer, Patrick Laughlin. What's up, Pat?
What's up, Joe? How are you today?
I'm good. I'm feeling motivated. We're moving along in this motivation series that we're doing, so I hope you guys are enjoying it. I know we've only done one or two of these, but there's a couple more to come. So today we're going to dig down into something very specific, which is working from home and still having a motivating team, which I know there's still a lot of folks out there that, whether you're some in office, some at home, completely at home, completely optional, I know that there's still a lot of people out there that aren't working what they would consider their traditional type of in-office schedule, right, Pat?
Yeah, I think that a lot of sort of leaders and managers that were used to sort of traditional in-office setup, where you could just sort of, the old Jack Welch, manage by walking around, idea, that doesn't work so well in remote work. You have to be very intentional about communications and how to make sure that people are still bought in. And I think that, sort of the most important thing is to continually communicate the mission. I think keeping the mission top of mind in every interaction is really important. Make sure that the vision is clear and that where you want to go and what you expect them to do to help the company get there is critical. Because you don't have that sort of constant reminder when you're that you get from being together all the time. So just remind them how's your company going to make a mark on the world, and why and how does everyone's work matter as it pertains to achieving that mission.
I love that. There's as we go through these, I think that's a good place to start. We always kind of reference these 6 different things, and I think the first one is that mission, which is your why. What you're doing and what you need to do is super important, what the goals are, but why you're doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's what's going to resonate with those folks when you're not standing looking right over their shoulder.
Well, and I think that, sort of not being able to sort of be there and communicate that all the time means that you have to be strategic about how you communicate it. So, obviously, I don't think anybody is working in a vacuum. Most teams have figured out some way to stay in some form of constant communication. I don't know a single company that's not using something like Slack or Microsoft Teams or some equivalent, but it can be something as simple as sort of sending out a weekly progress email, or making sure that you sort of celebrate wins against the mission in a weekly staff Zoom call, or maybe it's a daily stand-up. Whatever it is, sort of find ways to recognize the important work that's gone into helping achieve the mission and communicating that clearly.
Well, I love that. And that plays into the second thing that we always talk about is, once you figure out an effective way to communicate your why, provide lots of feedback. I mean, especially if your folks are used to being in the office and they're remote now, more feedback is important. Positive feedback, negative, just feedback in general is super important right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's critical to keeping any team motivated, but particularly a remote team where you don't have sort of that water cooler time, where you can just sort of drop in and say, hey, I really liked what you said in the meeting this morning, or I really love what you wrote. I think making time for and being intentional about positive feedback is really important. For the important part, that it encourages team members to take risks and find more innovative approaches. And it is taking those risks and looking for new and innovative approaches to getting the work done that ultimately keeps motivation high and keeps them striving for ways to continue to solve problems in the team. And I think that you have to be intentional about that sort of feedback process, whether that means regular one-on-ones, or it means that there is some sort of celebration in the staff meeting. I think that you really have to be intentional and put it on a calendar to make sure that you are focusing time to give positive feedback to people in the company.
Yeah, we've talked about the importance of processes before, and if you just think that natural kind of feedback conversations are going to happen, they're not. So develop a process for feedback so that you make sure that you're delivering the proper type of feedback to the folks that you're leading. I think that really plays along really nicely with the next two. We talked about expressing your why. We talked about regular feedback and how important that is, but and all of this really plays into company culture, but be deliberate about your company culture. Pat mentioned celebrating the wins. That's a very important part of, and encourage team members to celebrate wins among others, right? One of the things of working remote is you're not there, right? God willing, most of the work that happens, you're not going to be involved with. Most of the communication and most of the problems that arise and the way they get fixed, again, God willing, you're not going to be a part of as a leader. So encourage that culture where everybody maintains a regular practice of celebrating those wins and giving each other feedback and giving each other kind of that public pat on the back that is so important.
Well, I think that you have to be realistic. You're not going to replace, little gatherings at the coffee pot. You're not going to replace the quote unquote water cooler, as a remote team. And so, trying to is probably a recipe for failure, but figuring out ways that you can build in some of those interactions or those ways for people to pat each other on the back, it is important. And once again, there's lots of ways you can do this. They can be, as elaborate as sort of a retrospective, which we've talked about with the whole team, where you can sort of look at the way that the business is moving forward and allow people to give input and plan with you. Or it can be something really simple where you just send out an email a couple of times a week where you say, I'm really impressed with this thing that got done. It got done because this person championed it and they got help from these people. And so you're providing feedback to multiple people. You're telling them exactly what they're going to get rewarded for. And you're, once again, back to that word, intention. You are using intention in order to drive action towards a goal, which I think is incredibly important. But that only works with the next step.
Yeah,
you've got to empower them. You've got to let them do it.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot, and we're going to continue to talk about it, which empower your people. Let them know that failure is okay. And actually, eventually we're going to beat this dead horse, but failure is not only okay, but encouraged, because that means that we're trying things, that we're trying new ways to do things, and we're trying new things completely. Not trying something different is not okay, but empowering them. Don't micromanage them. Hopefully you've hired these individuals for a reason. And that reason is that they're more than likely a lot better at their job than you are at their job. So let them do their job.
Well, and I think a lot of micromanagement comes in from a lack of trust. If you don't trust your people when you're in the office to get the work done, you're definitely not going to trust them once you're remote. But the truth is that trust isn't with them, it's with you. You have to fix that. And whether that means that you build a process that helps build that trust, or you've just hired the wrong people. There is something fundamentally broken with either you or your organization if you can't walk away and trust that what you have asked to be done gets done, and that it gets done in a way that you're proud of and gets the outcomes that you want to. But a lot of it is trust and focusing on the outcomes.
Being outcome focused, I think helps out a lot. The next thing that we always talk about is a great way just to make sure that the mental health of your employees are good, which is encourage breaks. You gotta step back a little bit. We've talked about this on an early episode. Go back and check that out, where it's are we working from home or do I live where I work?
Yeah, I think that that's the best way to say it. Some days, I'm not going to lie, it does feel like I'm living at work.
Yeah.
And uh, the truth is, those are the days where I'm not taking enough breaks. I'm not getting up from my desk. I'm not, I'm I'm taking advantage of the fact that I live where I work now to try to get more done than I would have if I were at the office. And sometimes I get it. You got to make a big push in order to get big things done. But the truth is, if you want high performance, you got to let people cool off a little bit. Think about how you can work in spurts. Think about how you can build breaks into the day. What are the breaks that recharge you the most and the fastest? For some people, it's taking walks. For others, it's just sort of moving to a different location in their house. But I think it's really important that leaders encourage those breaks, and that if they have to, they force people to take them, because it is hugely important for performance that you step away from your desk for a little while.
Yeah, and the great thing about the age we live in now are there's actually tools that help people do this. So different games where it's easy for people to join in. We're going to start doing some product and some software reviews that we use. So stay tuned for a couple of those too. Pat and I'll do a little review or a versus series. We'll find something fun to do with that. We talked about this a little bit before too, and that plays a lot into empowerment and culture. All these things connect together. But encourage an employee recognition program. And again, we alluded to this earlier, but praise from you means one thing. Praise from somebody's peers sometimes is a whole different level. And sometimes encouraging that, making sure that people know that that's okay, and making sure that they're comfortable with that. Some of your high performers are going to be uncomfortable with praise. But make sure that you're setting up some sort of program and process to encourage praise among everybody in the organization.
Yeah, I can't add anything there, Jordan, other than to say you're exactly right. A lot of times a compliment means more from the person that you're sitting next to than it does from the person that you work for. And so fostering that, encouraging that, building programs, being intentional about sort of peer feedback and rewards is important. So, that is really a key to being able to empower your people and building that trust, and to build a high performance team that will help you achieve your goals.
Yeah. And that's the end goal, being focused on those outcomes. So these are just some things that we follow on a regular basis, and best practices that we've gathered throughout our careers. I'm sure that there's more. I'm sure that you guys have some specific examples. So we would love to hear it. Leave us a comment, shoot us a Facebook message, comment on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, especially if we earned it. Let us know how you keep not only your team motivated, but yourself motivated. We'd love to hear feedback from you guys. So Pat, appreciate it as always, and peace.